Hi everyone, today I am sharing with you how I print my photos for my journal in the miniature size. I did share kind of briefly how I printed them in my first ever journaling session. Recently I've got a lot of comments and a lot of messages asking me how I print my photos. Obviously the video where I did share it isn't very recent anymore, so I thought it was about time that I sat down and filmed a whole video on how I print my photos. So the printer I use is the Canon Selfie and mine is a CP910. There's a load of different versions. Obviously they're bringing out new ones every year, I assume. There is a version out there that doesn't support Wi-Fi, so just keep an eye out for that. I think it's the version up from this one, but yeah, just double check that it does support Wi-Fi, because if not, this won't work. It's not a massively expensive printer. Obviously it's a bit of an investment. I've had this for, I want to say 3 or maybe 4 years now. I think I paid about £70 for it at the time. If you're planning to print full 6x4 photos, I would say that this isn't the cheapest way of doing it, but for printing small photos for your journal, this is definitely worth it. It obviously works out a lot cheaper and you have so much flexibility with how you can lay them all out, how many you can print at a time. I'm not going to show this in action as such today, just because I'm out of paper at the moment and I've printed pretty much all of the photos I need to print, so I don't need to buy new paper just yet. The paper is kind of pricey. I haven't bought any paper in a while, but let me have a look on Amazon quickly. On Amazon it's currently about £25. The good thing about this is you buy the paper and the ink at the same time and they give you the exact amount of ink you need to print on the exact amount of paper that they give you, so you don't need to worry about running out of ink. Yeah, that's something that's really handy. So for £25 you can print 108 photos, which is the 6x4, so the 108 of these you can print, which obviously if you times that by however many photos you want on each thing, I usually do 7 or 8 per page, but if you times that by the 108, that will kind of give you an idea on the value of it. If I'm printing 7 photos per page, that's 756 photos for £25. Obviously give or take, because sometimes I print 8 per page, sometimes I print less, but most of the time I print about 7. It's definitely handy having a printer at home as well, because I don't have to worry about getting them shipped to me. I can print the photos straight from my phone and put them in my journal there and then. It does plug into the mains, so it's not something that's ideal for travelling, but for having on my desk and having at home and having an easy printer to just switch on and start printing, it is definitely worth it for that. The two apps that I use to print my photos is the Canon print app. So once I put my photos in a grid, this is the app I use to send it to my printer, and the only button I really use is the photo print button. I don't think I've ever used any of the other buttons. The other app I use is the photo grid app. Don't have to use this app, you could use any photo grid making app, but this is my personal preference. I've used it for years now. So I tap on grid and then I'll go to my albums, and in here I'll choose the photos. So if I go to Instagram and pick a few, I'm just going to choose random ones because it's just an example to show you how I use it. That's 7 photos. 7 or 8 is my go-to number. Once you tap next, it will take you to this page. It will remember what you have last used on the app. The first thing I do is remove the watermark, because obviously you don't want photo grid on the corner of your photos. You then want to go to ratio and make sure it's on 3:2. It's the same sort of dimensions as 6x4, because obviously half of 6 is 3 and half of 4 is 2. It doesn't have a 6x4 option on here, so that's your best bet. Once you've chosen that, you want to go to layout and make sure that the border is all the way up to 100. So the outside border needs to be on 100. This is really, really important, because on the 6x4 photos you have this overhang. So if you don't add this border, this will have part of your photo on, and these, I'll show you in a bit, but they break off. And then you can choose the layout of all the photos. A lot of mine I get from Instagram, so a lot of my photos are square. I found that this one with the 3 down the side and then kind of 2 and 2 is one of the best ones to use. So on here I get this one, which is like a big photo. Then I have another square photo there. These ones I can obviously shuffle them around, I can rotate them. If you want a small but square photo, you can pinch it and it will pinch it down. It does stay like that, so you can print it like that. You can also move these so you know, you can make it more even. You can also swap photos by tapping and holding and then dragging it over the one you want to swap it with. So yeah, you just kind of mess around with it as much as you want. It's just the main thing is to have that border around the edge and making sure that the ratio is on 3:2. You then tap save, so it saved it to your photo album. Then you want to go to the print app and you tap on photo print. choose it from your camera roll, click on select, click next, and then you tap print and it will print on the printer. And as long as your printer is on and obviously connected to the Wi-Fi, it will automatically start printing it. So that's how I print my photos. It's a lot simpler than it might sound, and with that PhotoGrid app you do have a lot of flexibility. Once they've printed, like I was explaining before, they have these little tabs on the edge which you just fold over and then fold again in the opposite way, and it just pops off. So if you don't add that border around the edge, you will cut off part of your photo. You do lose a little bit of the photos on the long edges, but it sits in that edge like perfectly. But yeah, once I've done that, I cut them out with my guillotine. I do add the dates on the back, so when I'm printing I go through my phone in my camera roll and it tells me the dates, so I don't have to search back through my whole camera roll again. So I just put the month at the top on one of the little tabs, and then I just put the number for the date on the back of each photo. And that's how I bulk print all of my photos. I print them in advance, then I've always got photos ready to journal. I keep them in my little rainbow drawers along with bits and pieces that I want to add in my journals along with the photos. And yeah, that is it. That's how I print my photos. Hopefully it's helped some of you who are printing photos on your selfie and you don't know which app to use and how to go about it. If you still have any questions, then let me know below and I will get back to you. But yeah, thank you for watching and I will see you in my next video.